Welcome to the Centerspan Training Series. Today, we will be installing the Handicare 2000 Curved Stairlift. The shipment will come on a 5-foot long skid. If you do not have a loading dock, it is important that a liftgate be requested for accepting the shipment. Unpackage the shipment to determine that all of the necessary components are present and nothing is damaged. When arriving to the job site, do a quick site survey to ensure that nothing has changed since the original evaluation. Identify and open the parts box first. This will contain the installation drawing, which is critical to proper installation. It is important that this be reviewed prior to the installation. Go ahead and take the carriage box to the top of the stairs first. The unit will be loaded at the top later on in the installation. You can now take the box with the mounting feet in and begin to unwrap the packaging and set the feet aside. Each mounting foot is labeled to identify its placement on the staircase. The manufacturer's drawing will illustrate which stair tread each foot will go on. Review the drawing and place the feet on the proper stair tread, starting from the bottom and working your way up. Identify and unwrap the upright supports. The upright supports will be individually labeled to determine their placement on the staircase. The drawing will illustrate their placement number. The upright supports can now be inserted into the mounting feet according to their placement number on the staircase. Each rail section will be labeled with a number starting from the bottom of the staircase. They will also be identified as top and bottom. Carefully unwrap the rails to prevent scratches in the powder coat. Each gear rack will have a T or a B to indicate top or bottom also. It is helpful to lay out all of the parts to expedite the installation. Starting with bottom section number 1, remove the end cap and pull the charge wire out of the end. A fish wire can now be used to run the red connector wire through the bottom rail. Locate the Allen head bolts with the Loctite tips. Starting at the second upright, insert the bolt through the rail and attach to the upright. It is important not to cut the charge connector wire when doing this. If the connector wire is cut, you will have to start over with the fish wire or risk shorting out the circuit board later on. Continue to work your way up, attaching the rail to the upright supports. Again, it is important not to pinch the charge connector wire when doing this operation. If a support is located at a joint, remove the nut from the longer of the two bolts and attach the bolt to the upright. You can now install the matching upper section just like the lower section was installed. Identify the second rail section and proceed with the installation. Remove the joint bolt of the lower section 2 and fish the connection wire through it. While pulling the slack out of the connector wire, connect the two rails at the splice bar. The rail section can now be bolted to the upright supports, making sure that the charge connector wire is not damaged. Once the bottom rail section is secure, the top section can now be attached. The splice bolt will be removed temporarily, and the section will be secured to the uprights using the hardware provided. The next bottom rail section can now be added. Fish the charge connector wire through, like the previous bottom sections, and attach the rail, being careful not to cut the fished wire. Continue bolting the rail section to the upright supports, being very cautious not to damage the charge connector wire. Work your way up the staircase with the top and bottom rail sections, attaching the rails to the uprights with the hardware provided. Once you have reached the final bottom section, remove the end cap and pull the wire from the charge contact out through the end of the rail. Fish the connection wire through the last section of rail and connect the rail while pulling out any remaining slack in the wire. Attach the last bottom section of rail to all of the uprights except for the last one. The final upright will be attached later in this process. The final end cap will be removed on the last upper section, and the rail can be secured to all of the upright supports but the last one. Corner support brackets can now be installed to add structure to the rail turns. Find one of the support feet in the middle of the rail that is hard to twist, and use an Allen wrench to make sure that it is plumb and level. Once the upright support is plumb and level, secure the foot with the Phillips head lag screws provided. If there is a foot that can be moved easily, it will need to be shimmed using the shim collars provided. Test to see how many shims will fit under the foot. Then remove the bolts from the upright, but leave them in the rail. Twist the upright and remove. Place the appropriate number of shims inside the foot and reattach the upright to the rail. Once all of the uprights have been plumbed and leveled, the charge wires can now be connected. Feed the gray ground wire through the last small hole in the back of the lower rail. Now, using a file the powder coat off of the rail upright to create better continuity. Snip and strip the tips of the charger transformer wires. Next, strip the ends off the red wires and the gray contact wire. Feed the charger wire through the large hole in the back of the rail and fish it out of the end. Using the connection block provided, connect the two red wires to the white wire from the transformer. Next, connect the black wire to the gray ground. The rail can now be bolted to the upright support, also connecting the ground wire from it. At the top of the rail, connect the charge contact wire to the red connection wire that was fished through the rail. Using the wire staples provided, neatly tack the charger wires to the baseboard. Insert the loading rails into the top and bottom sections of rail. The longer of the two will go in the bottom rail. These will then be bolted to the upright support. Remove the carriage power pack and prepare to load it on the rail. Cut pieces of cardboard to keep the trunnions in place when loading the power pack. Load the power pack on the rail. It is very important to make sure that it remains level. Remove the Phillips head screws and fold down the front shroud. Connect the loading toggle to the wires at the bottom of the carriage. The unit can now be turned on and run down the rail using the loading toggle. Feed the wires through the seat post and secure the seat base using the Allen head bolts provided. Remove the Allen bolts on the top side of the seat base and reinsert them to secure the seat back to the seat base. The seat wires can now be connected in place of the loading toggle. The seat back cushion will snap into the seat back. Remove the adhesive strips from the bottom cushions and stick them down. The loading rail inserts can now be removed and the end caps put in place. Place the plastic caps provided over the screw holes in the feet. The front shroud will now be put back in place using the Phillips head screws that were removed earlier. Insert the batteries provided into the wireless transmitters and begin testing their functionality. Check to make sure that the unit runs in both directions. Make sure that the emergency stop button functions properly. Ensure that the unit will not operate with the seat swiveled. And also test to make sure that the obstruction sensors work properly. Ride the unit through several cycles before beginning customer training. Once the job site has been cleaned up, you can train the customer on how to operate their new stairlift. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.